Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Colored Folk in Anime. Lance is not with us today. He had to be somewhere. Oh, no, God. But he couldn't be with us today, so I am taking over hosting duties. I am your host, Kris, and I'm here with the fellas.
What's up? It's Jordan.
And this is Hakim speaking.
Okay. Well, I guess first let's start off. What are we watching?
Yeah, so this is the fun part of the episode where we get into what are we watching, what are we reading. So for me specifically, I plugged it last week, but I've actually watched everything now that's out. Is the Blesse anime that came out on Crunchyroll. So it's
Is it good?
It's a manhwa. It's a Korean. It's originally Korean, and then so it follows. Did you start it? Have you?
No,
you read
I
it before?
know about
Or you know about it? Okay.
I knew it was vampires.
Yeah. So basically, the premise is it follows this character named Rizel, and he's like the noblesse. So he's the most powerful being in existence. He's a vampire, but he's like the supreme vampire. But he's like the chillest, most out of touch person you'll ever meet. And like he's been like in slumber for like thousands of years, and he gets revived like ahead of schedule because he like goes to sleep every so often. And to like every time he awakes, it's to like re-establish like the balance of the world, kind of.
Oh, okay.
So but this time he was woken up prematurely.
Oh.
And so one of the cool things, so one of the cool characters is he's got like this butler character who like is like his manservant who's Frankenstein.
Oh.
And so Frankenstein is technically still human, but he's immortal. And so every time his master reawakes, he like does this huge like world extensive deep dive to like find the coffin because it like disappears every time. So he like goes and searches for it every time. And so he always finds it, and then he like attends to him while he's awake, kind of.
Yeah, yeah.
So then it basically follows the story of him waking up. The vampires are kind of in a place where they're comfortable because they're kind of like Earth's protectors, so to speak.
Okay.
And then there's also like you have, of course, like the werewolves who are their natural enemies, who typically speaking don't really cause much problems. But
Where does that lore come from?
I don't know. I feel like it's kind of like Eastern European in origin.
Okay.
With like werewolves and vampires, but I really don't honestly know. It's dope, but I don't know. But like but the anime is dope.
I have no idea.
My only gripe with the anime so far, and I'm sure they'll probably figure this out somehow, is that they kind of start partway through where the manhwa starts.
Oh.
So like it starts before, it gives you a little bit of back history. You see the characters, and then like you actually see like the events leading up to him being awoken. Okay. Versus in the anime where it starts with he's already awake. He's already like established himself in Japan versus in the manhwa it's in Korea. And you kind of pick up from there. Like, and then so like one of the characters who's our major character in the show or in the manhwa is like he's like an experimental modified human. And he like you meet him at the beginning because he's originally one of the agents that was sent to like find this coffin. And so he's originally a bad guy. They convert him. Okay. But like there's this huge sequence that happens between that. And like when you start the anime, he's already one of the characters. He's already in the squad. So you're like, okay, what, why did they skip all that? So it's kind of weird because like if you've never read it, like you can just dive right in and it's great.
Yeah.
But like if you've read it, you're like, okay, well you skipped a lot to get to this point.
Right.
Like
skipped a lot of good stuff or just skipped a lot?
I mean, yeah, it's good stuff, and I mean, because it establishes all of the characters. So like, they don't give you any background on Frankenstein and his relation to the character. They don't give you any background on who Rizel is, other than the fact that he's the noblesse. They don't really give you a whole lot of background on his name. The guy's name is M21. It's his experimental number. They don't give you any background on him yet. Like, there's been flashbacks on, like, who he is, why he's doing what he's doing. So, like, I feel like they're going to go back and touch on it, but, like, through flashbacks instead of, like, just starting there.
Yeah.
and like going forward from there, which is I don't know. I personally don't like flashbacks that much.
Yeah.
Me personally, I wish you would have just started from the beginning, right? Yeah, like just going
I
in
feel
a
like if
linear
you don't do it
direction.
right, it slows down like the narrative.
Yeah, like you have whole episodes where you're like, okay, well, this could have been like you could have just started here, like
Yeah.
right.
For sure.
instead of flashing back to here, like
Just flash forward.
Right.
I like flash forward.
so. Yeah, so I caught up on that. There's like, I think there's less than 10 episodes out right now. I think so. I'm on like
Okay.
6 or 7 right now, but.
Nice.
So it's dope. I do like it a lot. Like the anime is really good, and I feel like it does the characters justice, which is good. And so far, the story has stuck to where they started from. Obviously,
Yeah.
and then like the animation is good. It'll be interesting to see how the differences between because obviously part of like Korean culture is in like the original manhwa versus like now it's set in Japan.
Oh,
Obviously,
yeah.
very vast, very different cultures. So it'd be interesting to see how they tackle that if they even address it, which I'm guessing they probably won't. But
Yeah. As much as they can avoid it, they probably won't.
right. And actually, so I started watching it, which actually made me like go back into my manga app and actually start reading it again, because I was like, oh, this was such a dope one. I'm just gonna read it again, while I'm watching it. So I started doing that again, but I haven't started watching anything else new.
Okay.
Since last time.
Okay.
What about you guys?
I haven't started anything from the beginning, but I picked up on Baki.
Okay, nice.
I hadn't finished it. I got pretty far and then I kind of fell off. Did
you start watching it on Netflix or were you watching it at?
Yeah, I started watching it on Netflix. It recommended by my brother. I started watching it back in early July. And I kind of fell off. I don't know why. Maybe I started watching something else or something. But I got back into it, and I think I'm gonna start it over just to be encapsulated in it again.
Yeah.
It's such a really cool. It's such a really cool concept that like it takes martial arts to the most like finite, extreme limits.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah.
like. How far does a fighter go to get first blood and those principal things about martial arts, and it's really cool and it's really silly too. Like,
I haven't seen it at all.
It's crazy. Like,
I feel like. How do you feel like it stacks up? Because now obviously you have a lot of these like martial arts tournament kind of animes that are coming out, especially on Netflix. Like you have like God of High School and there's been a couple other ones. That have come out recently. Like, how do you think it stacks up compared to these other ones?
I think it's one of a kind because I've never seen an anime that when people get hurt and you think, oh, this is a fatal blow. Like this dude's neck was broken, his head was popped off. Like, and Baki, like, guy comes back and is like, yeah, I got to the hospital so fast that there were 5/10 of a second left, and they reattached my head to my body. So now, like, I'm even stronger, and like his head is is held together by like staples in his neck, and he's like, but I'm ready to fight.
It's shonen logic.
It's crazy. I'm like, yo, this dude's head was ripped off, but he's back somehow. But I'm here for it.
It's great,
and I love that. Like, yes, Baki is the main character, but for so much of the anime, it's not focused on him.
Yeah.
He is just a focal point in the anime. It's really focused on everyone kind of connected to him.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't really fight until like so far into the show. So so that's a little interesting. It's like, it's about one character, but they don't really showcase that character's abilities till way later in the anime. But I'm enjoying it, so I'll see what happens by the end.
Yeah, I was gonna say, have you seen any of the fights between him and his dad?
No, I
They're
got
wild.
So I know I got also too. I know I got to go back. There was an OVA that came out, I think in like '94 or '95, which gives a lot of backstory to Baki. So after I finish this, I'm gonna go back and watch that. And just kind of get the context.
I feel like
so bad at watching OVAs.
I feel like Baki's kind of weird because, like when I watched it all the way through, like on when Netflix released it, but like I had read parts of it because it's weird because it's broken up into like segments, but like the segments aren't necessarily, at least from what I could gather, like in order. So like it kind of like highlights different periods. So like one of them highlighted like his youth and like how he became kind of this strongest fighter kid. And then like part of it is like that tournament arc where he does like the underground tournament.
Yeah.
And then like part of it is like, you know, after the tournament arc is over and like there's like where like, you know, he finds his dad and you know, because like his goal, you know, obviously is to become the strongest fighter, and his dad kind of holds the title, kind of. But his dad is like evil, like as hell. Like, and he like just beats the brakes off of his son multiple times.
Yeah.
Like,
It's a real brutal show.
Yeah,
it's
it is brutal.
Okay.
Like gory, like
real gory. Like crush your face, rip your brain out of your face.
like Mortal Kombat, like with the slow mo, like finish him style stuff.
That's
Like,
crazy.
yeah, it's wild, but it's good though. It's dope.
It is
the
good.
fights are amazing.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
yeah,
What
I would
about
definitely
you?
recommend it.
I'm starting my journey with Attack on Titan.
Oh,
what's happening.
yeah, nice.
So I know I have a lot to watch. This is Black Girl Hack. I have to binge it, but I also need to braid my hair. So next weekend over the holiday, I'm gonna braid my hair and binge watch Attack on Titan so I can catch up. Because I'm gonna be braiding my hair for like 4 or 5 hours. So what else am I gonna do? So, and I'm watching it dubbed, and the dub is actually really good.
Let's go.
Okay,
The dub for
shout out to
Attack on
Hakim
Titan
when
is
we watch
really
the
good.
dubs.
1 point for dub.
Yeah, right.
It is. Yeah. So I was like, well, and it helps too because I don't have to like I would look at the screen, but like when it's just dialogue and I know what's going on, I don't have to.
Yeah.
So I can actually do something else while I'm
That is the nice thing
watching
about
it.
dubs.
At a certain point, you'll probably stop anything you're doing. And stare at
Yeah, that's true.
Just to stare at
That's
it.
You'll be
true.
glued.
Yeah, I'm
that's very
excited.
true.
I'm finally to the parts that I haven't seen before.
Right.
So, yeah, it's good. I knew it was good, and it was good when I was watching it. Life got me distracted, and I
Yeah.
stopped watching it. So
That happens with anime a lot.
Yeah, that's true.
Whole lot.
it was just so much anime. We have been tasked with an assignment by Lance.
Okay, Father Lance.
Yep. Oh man, I don't say something. Never mind. So we have to just find what the perfect anime is. What will elicit a 10 out of 10 out of our big brain anime loving minds. So my first question for y'all is, does the perfect anime already exist?
It's a good
You
question.
go first.
Yeah, you go first. That's a great question. I feel like, I mean, obviously, I feel like everyone's perfect anime is different.
Right.
I think for me personally, there's only really one anime that I've watched up until this point that I would consider. Well, actually, no, because I would consider perfect anime one that's already done.
Yeah.
And so I don't think I've.
Ouch.
Yeah. Because, my biased personal favorite is One Piece. And obviously, One Piece isn't done. And there's no idea when it's going to be completed. Like, that's, for me, my closest thing to what I would consider a perfect anime.
Okay.
At this point. And obviously, I'm a little biased because I'm a shonen fan. But, like, I think the elements that make up the show are what make it perfect for me.
Okay.
And obviously we'll get more into that, but I think for me the closest thing to perfect that I would consider right now would probably be One Piece.
Okay.
Nice.
The question was, does a perfect anime exist?
Does it exist? What?
Yes.
Do you have a 10 out of 10?
I do.
What?
You're watching it now.
Nice.
That's my 10 out of 10.
Is the manga done for that?
No, not yet.
I was gonna say it
right?
should
Not
be
yet.
close, right?
It's pretty close. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're
Okay.
although they're on a break right now, so
Of course they are.
they've been on a break. I think the last one came out in like July, so
Boy.
and it only comes out once a month. But
in
when
true Attack on Titan.
Yeah, right.
fashion.
Yeah, right. It just leaves you on the and every single chapter is a cliffhanger. I'm just like, bro, really? I have to wait another month for this nonsense? Like, I need my fix right now.
Yeah. Yeah, that, like Jordan said, we'll get into why, but I think that is a perfect anime so far. It's not done yet.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a completed anime that I put on that same echelon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But since I'm trying to think, when I first started Attack on Titan, I think 2015 I first started it. And since then, I have yet to watch another anime that I feel even is close to it. Yeah.
Nice. I don't have a perfect anime. All of my favorite animes are 9s. I was like, because I always have a complaint. That's just the kind of person I am. I'm at that point where I'm like, okay, Hunter is a 9 for me.
Yeah. That's like that video where you sent us with the Hunter fans.
Yeah, I know.
People think it's the best.
That's right.
That
It's my favorite. Come at me.
It's never gonna end.
And then the first season of Code Geass.
Oh yes.
And the first season of Death Note are 9s to me.
Oh yeah, Death Note's a good one too. I had problems with Death Note though, so
right. But I'm like, even just the first season, because Death Note's ranking decreases significantly
as it goes on.
That's well, the second season,
after L dies.
Yeah, that's true.
Because
takes a sharp downturn.
I don't care after L dies.
That's true.
That was the whole thing. Yep. It was the whole thing. And then there's this weird lull in the middle where he's like, well, I mean, he's finessing the system and you understand why he's doing it, but it's still boring. Code Geass's first season is really, 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 really entertaining.
Yeah, it is.
It's so good.
What are you guys watching on?
See that one. I like to waste my money, so I have Crunchyroll and Funimation.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's not a
but
waste.
I share it.
It's not really.
I share it with when I say I share it, I'm paying for it, but I share my login information with my brother. So
we don't
share my right. But all my top ones are still 9s because I still have like little qualms with each of them.
Right.
So
it's probably healthy.
Yeah.
Maybe. But does that mean that I'm never satisfied? Is the problem. But okay, so y'all do have 10s then.
Yes.
Why I guess
maybe like what elements of the show?
Yeah,
or like what makes it a 10 for us?
Maybe? What makes it a 10 for y'all?
I have some notes here.
Nice.
Let's see. I have 6 points.
Ooh.
Okay.
That I will stand
well
by
thought out
for what makes a perfect anime for me. The first one we'll start with the main character. First one is the character's motivations.
Okay.
The why of the entire show, right? Why is this character doing what he's doing? Why is he on this journey? What's happening to him that's like making him do the things that he does, right? And this is all in context to Attack on Titan, which is my perfect anime.
Yeah.
Number 2, character development. Specifically for the main character, for me, there has to be an arc of growth. There have to be challenges that seem impossible, but the main character either is a part of a solution or comes up with a solution or is the solution to the issues in the show. Number 3, an understandable plot that creates new challenges for the character.
Okay.
So a plot that's not too convoluted with complexity just to be unique and be different.
Or like Goku, we have the same formula.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
Monster of the Week type stuff.
Right.
But like, for an example, like Dragon Ball Z, it's like you look at like the Buu saga. It's like Buu, Kid Buu, Ultra Buu, Gohan Buu. Then they're fighting inside of Buu. It's just like you're just doing way too much.
They do fight inside of Buu, don't they?
Yeah.
So
and there's always a new strongest villain in the universe. So like how many universally strong villains can you potentially have?
Yeah.
Goku's best decision was like, I'm gonna stay dead because I feel like me being alive is drawing stuff to the earth, and it's like it is.
True.
It really is.
So I have beef with stuff like that, but with Attack on Titan, the plot stays pretty consistent the entire time.
Yeah.
From the moment the show starts to kind of where we are now, we're still trying to figure things out. There's
True.
still
Yeah.
the same problem of the Titans and like, what are we doing about it? What does this mean? You know, and no anime has held me on the edge of my seat for 4 seasons like that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So that's number 3. Number 4 is likable or unlikable secondary characters. And I say likable and unlikable, which is like both sides of the spectrum.
I feel like you need both.
You need both.
I have to
Yeah,
feel.
you
I
need
don't
both.
give me a character where I'm just like,
Yeah.
I need
Yeah.
to love you or I need to
Yes.
hate you.
Well, I feel like you need both though. Like you need characters that you like, and you need characters that you don't
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I think
Ooh, what are your characters you don't like in Attack on Titan?
I don't see, this is where character development comes in. As the anime begins, I don't like Eren at all.
It's probably pretty common.
I hate Eren,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's probably pretty common.
We hate
though.
Eren.
Yeah.
But where we are now, Eren's awesome.
Yeah.
I love Eren.
I was like, he is a very annoying child.
Yes. And a likable character is Mikasa.
Mm-hmm.
Right? She's strong. She's serious. She handles her shit. She does what she
Right.
needs to do. She doesn't fuck
She's always
around.
getting Aaron out of trouble.
Yeah, right. She's
Right.
always saving
She's
him.
always like trying to fight with people.
That's her damsel in distress, though. 'Cause
Yeah.
He holds her back. Jesus.
Yeah. She's a likable character. Sasha, Potato Girl. I don't know if you're that far yet.
I have seen her.
Okay.
Yes.
I feel like you would like Sasha.
I do like Sasha.
I was gonna say, I feel
Yeah.
like Sasha would be a character you would
Because
like.
she's ridiculous.
Yeah, she's crazy.
She doesn't make any sense. All she cares about is eating potatoes.
Yeah.
And her like, so this is a quick aside, her like motivation for liking to eat is hilarious. Like, it's kind of tragic, kind of hilarious at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, she was a character that just from her introduction at training camp and just like, just her just being like, I don't care what's going on. Like, I'm hungry.
Right.
So I'm eating a potato
She's
right
was
now.
like,
right here, right now.
Right.
But yeah, she Attack on Titan is in no way humorous.
No.
There's really no
Right.
comedy.
No.
But
At
she
all.
is like, if there is comedic relief, she is that for the show.
Yeah.
Trying to think some other unlikable characters. Oh my God, Armin.
Yeah.
But that goes back to character development.
Yeah.
Where he's at now, he's different than he was.
Yeah, because I'm still at the part where he watched everybody die. I'm a little bit after that part.
On the
I
roof?
mean, he's smart. Like, he's still smart right now, but mostly he's terrified all the time, which is
Okay.
so annoying.
Yeah. Yeah, get used to that.
Oh yeah, I'm like over here biting my tongue because because I'm caught up on the manga.
Yeah.
And like, so I've watched everything that's out, but like the manga is significantly farther ahead than the anime is right now.
Yeah.
And like the character development like dials up to 10
Yeah.
in the events like after where the anime is.
So
currently
what
left
you're
off.
saying is I will eventually like Armin.
I don't know
I
that
don't
you'll
know.
like
Yeah,
Armin
that's not to
eventually, or
say.
if you'll just have new respect for him.
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
Yeah.
I can deal with that.
and opinions of Eren will also probably change.
Yeah.
Just gonna put that out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because right now, Armin for me is like a Zenitsu, where I'm kind of like,
See, I feel like he is a very polarizing character. Shout out to Cooper. That's like his least favorite anime character of pretty much any anime. Like Cooper almost stopped watching Demon Slayer because of
him.
Zenitsu.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
well, and
which
I
thought
almost stopped
I
watching
thought he was hilarious.
Black
Personally,
Clover because of
of
the main
Asta?
character. Yeah,
yeah.
they're
But
on
yeah.
the same level to me.
I'd be interested to see how that changes as
How
time
that
goes on.
changes.
If it changes, who's to say
I'm
it
gonna
will?
come back to the podcast every day, like with different opinions about Attack on Titan.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
you probably will. That's
Yeah,
not
right.
even out of the.
It changes a lot. Like,
It
you go through a
cha-
lot of emotions.
Boy.
So that's the likable, unlikable secondary characters. What's another likable secondary character? Captain Levi.
Yeah.
I'd say he's the
I
strongest
already like
character,
him.
and
He's only been in like
I don't think
For
anybody
sure.
doesn't like
seconds.
Levi because he's just a badass.
he
He
really
is.
is. He doesn't complain.
No.
He's just like, this is what needs to
He's
happen.
like, let's just
It's
get
not-
out here and get it done.
Him and
Get her
Commander
done.
Irvin, their dynamic,
Yeah.
is great. Number 5, this is outside of the actual show, but the theme song has to be
Okay,
enjoyable.
Yeah, that's true.
Theme song's
is fire.
gotta get me excited when it comes on.
A theme song that you don't want to skip
Yes.
because it's actually fire.
Yeah,
But
and a theme song that speaks to the color of the anime.
I agree. Yeah.
The Attack on Titan theme song is intense. It's
Yeah,
like
it
in
is.
your face.
Yeah.
It gets
It
your
is.
blood pumping.
And they say stuff in a different language that's not Japanese, different language. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
That I still don't know what that means, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. I'm going to probably go Google that later.
Yeah. So theme song has to be good. And then let's see. What was the last one? Oh, world building. Just the setting that it takes place in, the environment, the circumstances that the characters are living through, and those challenges that they have. How does their environment add or subtract or make those challenges easier or harder?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if I. Yeah, Attack on Titan's my 10. I think I don't think I have anything that else is a 10. I say My Hero is up there. I say My Hero's a 9. We'll see. I think I need some time to see like where it goes because I think it could be a 10 if it goes the right way. But right now it's like it's at a high.
I probably would be sitting here saying Attack on Titan was, or not Attack on My Hero was a 10 if All Might died in that fight.
Which fight?
Right.
If All Might died in the fight
One for
against
All?
One for All,
Yeah.
I might be sitting here saying, "Oh, My Hero Academia is a 10 out of 10."
That's interesting.
That's an interesting
that
opinion,
really would have raised the stakes to 100.
It would have
for all of
made
them.
everything
Everybody.
so much heavier because what they're focusing on now is how the common thread through a lot of the really powerful front runner kids in the school is that they all want to be like All Might, and there's this gravity to who's going to be the next number one hero, but they still have All Might there to kind of lean on as a figurehead. So I'm like, if you had taken him away, it would have made the weight of everything so much just heavier.
Well, I think too, especially with the fact that like him dying would change the entire dynamic of the show.
Yeah.
It would.
Because I feel like, because you have like obviously the kids in this academy setting, and I feel like one, obviously he's this hero that like stops crime before it even starts. So you'd have this huge uptick in crime.
Right.
You'd have all these new villains, all this new crime, and it would force the kids to grow up quickly because their abilities would be needed in his absence.
That's one of the things I like about the beginning of Naruto is that they like almost immediately go right into like the buildup of a war. The kids lose their mentors. Like they have to start fighting these intense battles so early on that it made sense for them to be so powerful so young because they had all of that. And so that gravity I feel like is missing from.
I just don't know if like they intend My Hero Academia to be that kind of a show, though. I don't know if that's kind of the vibe they're going for, because it seems kind of too. I don't even know how to describe it. Like they're going for like kind of like a lighthearted theme almost with their character development, where it's like, okay, well, we have this group of kids. They're great. There's this camaraderie. They're like safe-ish in this academy where they're protected by the pro superheroes, the pro heroes, and it's like. But like kind of like your correlation to Naruto, like if you take away their safety net, like that changes everything, because then you have a whole lot of emotionally stunted kids, like, kind of like you do in Shippuden, where all of their mentors die and they all just kind of become nutcases, in their own special ways. But and I feel like too, if you take away an All Might character, like a figure like Bakugo, like does he become a villain? Yeah, because All Might is his mentor.
Want him
like
to become a villain.
I feel like he is like the foil to Deku, like where he's like Deku's supervillain rival. That they were homies from day one, and then kind of like not really, but kind of. In Deku's eyes they were. But Bakugo, not really.
He does always say stuff about them being friends, and I'm like, where? How? What,
he is literally this is
wrong?
Stockholm syndrome. You're like he's abusing you.
It's like you are delusional.
Wake
child.
up.
Yeah, that's a great call. I think I would agree with that because it's already a great anime, and a character like All Might is the pillar that holds everything together.
Yeah.
And if you take him away, like you said, it changes the
and it's like
entire
they're
dynamic.
trying to do that without All Might actually being gone.
Right.
Like Deku still has a mentor that's guiding him through all of this stuff. So he's not really without a guiding light. It's not really his turn yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like that
think,
moment lost its weight.
I feel like too though, like they need All Might to teach Deku how to use his abilities still.
Yeah.
Because he's still
Although at
he's
some
still
point One for All
unexperienced.
became sentient, and it's like teaching it himself. Like,
Yeah.
do you like?
Right.
It's
Yeah.
just-
I don't know.
I don't know what they're doing with that ability anymore.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see where it goes because I
Yeah.
think that's interesting,
Yeah.
but it's still odd.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But in any case,
Yeah. So those are my points for what makes a perfect anime to me.
okay.
And I think Attack on Titan covers all those 10 out of 10.
Nice.
Yeah, I think that's a good list of what makes a perfect anime. Mine isn't quite that extensive. I don't have 6 bullet points, but I think for me, obviously, the biggest factors. One is the story, kind of like you mentioned. Like, what's the story? What's the end goal, kind of?
Yeah.
And like, obviously, I'll tie everything to One Piece and why I love it so much. But you have a really compelling story in One Piece. Well,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's super compelling, but like you have a story that's compelling enough, and then you have an easy to follow story. The characters develop, and then 2, obviously, like you talked about world building. Like not only is it a good story, but it's like an expansive world. Like to me, I've watched anime and played video games like since I was a kid. Like I'm an RPG gamer. Like I love a good story, good characters, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so for me, like just like the expansive world that is One Piece is insane to me. Because you have, you have all these different characters, all this different and like different parts of like the different oceans and like how they relate to each other and like the Marines and their whole involvement in everything. And then on top of the world building, you have like incredible character development, you know, like not only because you were talking about good, side characters.
Yeah.
Like you have just as much development of your side characters as you do of Luffy.
Listen,
You know, like
the backstories of the Straw Hat Pirates
Yeah.
are so sad.
yeah, it's crazy.
They're so sad.
Yeah. And like I don't think I've ever seen that I can think of off the top of my head an anime where your supporting cast is so well fleshed out.
Yeah.
Like you talking about motivations, like their motivations for being part of the crew.
Yeah.
How they became part of the crew. Like that the part where he like recruited Robin, like come on. Like pretty much like everybody with a heart cried at that scene.
Oh my gosh. Robin's
Like where she's like, I just want like I'm
He
like
was like, say you want to live.
exactly.
Like, say you want to live. Bitch.
right. You're just like bawling along with her, like, just say it. He's gonna save you. Like, and yeah. So I mean, like you said, the Straw Hats are so well fleshed out. You have such good characters, and then the cool thing too is like, it gives you speculation. Okay, who's the next Straw Hat?
Yeah.
And so like now I've been reading all kinds of theories because small spoiler, but Jinbei is obviously the most recent Straw Hat
Yes,
edition, which is
he is.
fire because
Oh my
Jinbei is a
gosh.
badass.
I love Jinbei.
And then now you have speculations on who's the next Straw Hat. And my personal favorite theory is Marco the Phoenix. So I've seen all kinds of theories floating around that Marco is going to be the next Straw Hat.
Okay.
Which I like, but I also can see Yamato being the next Straw Hat, who's Kaido's daughter. So I could also see that because of kind of how that's going with her, because now she's fighting alongside Nami and Usopp in where they're at right now.
Yeah.
So she's fighting against her dad's crew with the Straw Hat. So she's not an official member, but she's kind of an ally at this point.
But is she gonna be like the other kind of princessy characters?
Which I don't know. That could be possible. But I feel like she
honorary Straw
But like
Hat?
the thing is, like with her motivation, like she idolizes Odin, and so like she wants to go seafaring like he did,
Okay,
and
so, okay.
I kind of feel like she wants to leave, and the Straw Hats are like her perfect way out.
You're like building up to it.
Yeah, and so like I feel like with her that's a good end, but on the same token, the theory that I was reading about, excuse me, about Marco, is that right now Marco's fighting Big Mom, and so like obviously like the fact that he can fight on par with Big Mom is already
insane.
huge. Like that, like Luffy's crew needs that. Like they need somebody that can fight on par with one of the emperors, and so, and they were talking about how like Whitebeard's final charge to Marco was to protect Luffy. Yeah, Luffy. And so like,
sorry, I'm like,
no, you're
whatever
good.
his name is.
Yeah, right. I've heard so many different pronunciations. I prefer Luffy, but whatever. English language, so like there's that theory that Marco's fighting alongside them now, and he's kind of been like following them around, kind of.
Yeah.
And he's gotten involved periodically with their fights, and then like with Whitebeard's last charge to him to protect Luffy and make sure that he accomplishes his goal. Like I feel like Marco, like all it's gonna take for Marco to join the crew is Luffy being like, hey, come join us. Like, in his like super nonchalant, like
that's how everybody
I'm just
joins.
gonna follow you around the world until you join me, but whatever, just join me and make it easy. Like,
no. But I do appreciate like the world building, and character development in One Piece for sure.
Yeah, and I feel like too, you have like really good, like the villains aren't necessarily villains. Like you have different, so you have like the admirals, and like they're the Marines. They're supposed to be upholding order in the world. So like you would like, they're technically supposed to be the good guys, but like they're not. Like the admirals are, pieces of crap, especially Akainu.
I didn't think about villains when I thought about those bullet
Attack on
points.
Titan.
I didn't think, because there really is no villain, right? It's
right?
like,
Are the Titans good villains?
they're just like there are no active.
And am I gonna spoil myself? The Colossal Titan and the Armored Titan and the Beast Titan. No, because then they have the thing. I'm getting ahead of myself.
What?
I'll figure it out.
So,
it's fine.
I feel like Attack on Titan has a very loose interpretation for villains.
Yeah,
it's like when you were like, crime was the villain in Conan. Do you remember when he said that?
Yeah.
Maybe it's one of those.
Well, I mean, just in Attack on Titan, I think, and obviously they go into it later, but like
it's unique.
It's unique because the motivations for who are at first portrayed as the villains, like once you see their backstory, you're like, are they though?
Yeah.
Are they really the villains?
Okay.
So anyway,
interesting.
But so character development obviously in One Piece is top notch, and then for me too, like it has a lot of to offer. Like you have good action, you got good comedy, you've got good like emotional tear jerking moments, pretty much with every crew member.
Yeah, animation as well.
Yeah, the animation. Well, it's crazy to watch from the beginning to where it is now. Like the evolution of the animation is insane. Because you think about the anime started in like the late '80s, early '90s.
Yeah.
And like the style of animation has evolved 10 times since then. Like and so that in itself too is like the ability for One Piece to have stayed relevant for 30 years. And the fact that it's to date the highest grossing anime ever. Yeah. So like I'm just gonna put my ring in the hat or my hat in the ring. That's probably the best. Like that's a 10.
Right.
Because like it's maintained its status.
There's a reason why so many different types of people like it. Yeah.
And like like us over of any genre, like any genre, any anime, any decade, any century. Yeah. One Piece is the top. And so that's for me is why it's perfect.
Okay. Because I don't have a perfect anime. I have a lot of like what I think is perfect in each of the scenarios kind of thing. Like what's perfect in each of those kind of categories. So if I think about world building, I think that One Piece and Hunter x Hunter are like hands down some of the best world building I've ever seen.
The world's great.
I will caveat this with saying I'm not including some of my favorite slice of life stuff are movies. Like I do have a 10 out of 10 anime movie and it's called A Silent Voice. I was wrecked the whole third act. I was completely wrecked. I'm like sobbing in my chair by myself. But in any case, but anime wise, I don't have a 10. But world building, I feel like Hunter x Hunter and One Piece are for sure some of the best that I've seen worked out in front of me. And I think it's harder to do it in anime than it is when you're doing it with manga. Like, we see so many people get it wrong when they go from like books to film.
Yeah.
It's easier to kind of use that exposition to kind of explain what the world's like, and you have a lot more room to make it make sense in written works. But when you're doing it through an anime, you have to keep it going and keep it interesting while you're also trying to kind of teach as you go. And I think Hunter x Hunter has kind of a lull. Like, usually what they do is they use a character that doesn't know something to teach you something about the world. So Gon and Killua learning how to use Nen and stuff becomes the
Your
author, right? Yeah, that's the way they tell the reader, watcher, what the world is like a little bit through someone that doesn't really understand.
Right.
It's the easiest way to do it if you're writing a story.
Yeah.
But it's still, like, every once in a while, it still feels a little exposition-y. That's one thing that One Piece doesn't get deep into. They still have those moments when they go to a new island that they don't really know very much about. They have those moments where they have to learn about the uniqueness of the island that they're on.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the world at large, you don't have a lot of exposition happening during the story. That you have to get to know the whole world. You just see it unfolding. So, you know, One Piece has a little edge on Hunter x Hunter. I never thought that I would say that. But what else? Character building stuff. I can't. So there's always at least one character that annoys the hell out of me in every anime that I watch. And so it's hard for me to pick an anime that has perfect characters, but
That's the thing. Do the characters have to be perfect for it to be a perfect anime?
Well, I mean, perfect in the sense of like, this is what the perfect protagonist would look like, and this is what the perfect antagonist, and this is the perfect sidekick. I think one that gets very close to 10 out of 10 for me is Promised Neverland.
Yeah.
I love the characters in Promised Neverland so much, and it has just, I love the villain in that show. Mother is just so, she's just so good. Like, she's so good. For me, she's just one of the best kind of villains I've seen in a show in a really, really long time. And I love the dynamic between L and Light in Death Note, but there's just a certain element of it that still feels a little childish, which is funny because Promised Neverland is literally about children, but there's still something more complex.
Childish, though.
Yeah. There's still something more complex. I love the games that they play with each other. In even though L doesn't know it, his life's kind of at stake, but there still feels sort of more like a game. I think the weight in Promised Neverland is a little heavier, which makes it more compelling to me.
Well, I mean, you think about it, like, 'cause I mean, even though the stakes are the same, you know, because like death and death. Yeah. You know, like L's death, you know, he's like evading death.
Right.
But like, it's kids. Like, L's a full-grown adult.
Yeah.
You know, and like he understands the weight of death in the way that we as adults do.
Yeah.
But like kids, you know, you think about it, like when they in that first scene where they see Connie and they're just like, what is going on? Like, you know, like they understand, like, for the first time the gravity of their situation, and they're like, oh, like, we're screwed. Yeah. But like they still have like that hope that they're like, oh, but we can survive this. Like, you know, and I'm just like you obviously you want them to win, of course, because, you know, but at the same time you're like, your kids, how is this possible? Right. Like the childish innocence and, you know, the fact that they don't understand how the world works versus, you know, mom, who grew up in the system, knows how, like, the inner workings of the world. Like, you would think there's no way they could possibly beat her.
It seems like their odds are undefeatable.
Like that, like there's no way they could beat her, you know, because like she's literally them as an adult, you know, she lived, she survived. Right. She did what she had to do to live, you know. And like, there's no way you could beat that character for me. You know. But like, have you like read it?
No,
You
I
need
still
to.
have not read
I
it.
talk about it so bad.
I
You haven't read it either?
I haven't read it either.
I'll
Okay.
get there. I think for me, I was kind of like, no, I don't want to read it because the next season's gonna come out, and then it didn't.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
now I'm probably gonna
The
read
character
it.
development, like,
I don't have the patience.
gets way better after where the anime leaves
Yeah.
off. And, like, I mean, we all know what's going to happen, so it's not really a spoiler. But once they get out of the farm,
Yeah.
like the world building after that point, like, also
It's like
takes
top
off.
tier.
Yeah, like it's amazing.
Because there's that part about the books that pissed me off when I was watching it, and I was like, that's it. That's all you're
Yeah.
gonna say about the books. There's a code, and the code's not even important.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it's crazy. They literally
them to give me
are
that.
chasing the author of those books for like 3/4 of the anime or of the manga.
Wow.
Okay,
Like,
so now
yeah.
I'm
Like
satisfied,
following clues, like
and I'm probably gonna go read it.
you should because
Am
it's
I-
amazing.
Uh,
Just like don't read the last chapter.
Which is also what I would tell people
Read-
about
yeah,
Demon
read-
Slayer as well. Just
yeah,
skip
The last
skip
chapter.
the end. I know you want to know what happens.
But
You
you
know
don't.
what
Wait,
happens.
is it done? Is
They
it
win.
Oh,
Yeah, it's done.
finished.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
done. So
Boy.
yeah, I wish the author would have ended it differently than he did, because I feel like for me it was perfect until the end. Like it was like the characters, like the struggle, like everything was like one of like top 3 my favorites right up until the end.
Yeah.
And then the end kind of ruined it. Like not like ruined the whole thing, but like I just like really like come on.
That's what fan fiction's for.
Yeah, that's true. Like I yeah.
They'll
There's so
fix all
many
the-
better
they'll fix all the
endings.
problems.
So
Like,
many better
no. I can find the ending I want. It's somewhere in here. The 2 other ones I wanted to touch on were plot and animation. Were the 2 other ones that really stuck out of my head. So plot wise, I think Code Geass season 1 got a really good plot. There's a lot of Death Note has a really good plot too, because you see how Light is trying to play the long game,
Yeah.
and I can appreciate that.
Lelouch kind of is too.
Lelouch is too, they're the plot, like when it starts out, you kind of don't really understand totally his thing until am I gonna spoil? Until he kills his brother.
You know about Lelouch?
Yeah, until Lelouch kills his brother, and then you're like, oh,
damn.
word? Like, oh, okay. And so then it automatically, it's almost like the heaviness of the plot suddenly falls on your shoulders in that moment, and you're just like carrying that with you that whole first season. You're just like, oh my God, oh, this is deep. And it just like gets deeper and deeper the more that you kind of uncover about what's really going on. It just makes the plot more compelling. And then adding his kind of friend that's on the other side of the fence adds like just this little spice of complexity. It's real nice. It's real nice the way they do the story in that one.
Yeah,
but like that's kind of like really, really good plot for me.
Yeah.
And then animation, I think if I'm talking about good animation, I gotta bring up Demon Slayer.
Yeah.
Demon
definitely.
Slayer animation is just, it's beautiful. March comes into like a lion's animation is beautiful to me. And it's like Japan, but he lives on like the other side of the bridge from a lot of the stuff he goes to. It's like a shogi. Is it shogi? Shogi, whatever. It's a game that's like Japanese chess. Don't come for me. That I said it like that. But he's like a kid that's a professional player. Is it slice of life? It's not really slice of life. I don't know how you describe it, but anyway, it's great anime. But it's really, really beautifully drawn. And it's just Japan, and it's him over this bridge, but like the water is beautiful, and he has all these like really great analogies about how he feels about them, and like his emotions are animated really well. Just that show is animated great. And the fights in Naruto. The fights in Naruto are just great. Fights in Naruto and Bungo Stray Dogs.
I haven't seen that one. I heard it's really
The
good.
fights in Bungo Stray Dogs are they're so pretty. They're so nice to look at. And so like those those kind of animation things. Like, not only does it need to be beautiful, but I think the attention that the animators pay when they're doing each individual move, the choreography that they consider when they're drawing, and how it just flows. Because you see a lot of fighting. Like, I hate the fighting in One Piece, and I know a lot of people love it, and I hate it because it's like there's every once in a while you get like a moment that flows, but it's mostly just like strike and punch. Whereas like you get these fights in Naruto that are just like full blown choreo stuff that you would see in a live action film, like the martial arts that they really, really pay attention to, the styles that they give each fighter is almost like what is the name of that show? Avatar. Yeah. Avatar's fighting is beautiful because they give each tribe a distinct way that they fight and stuff like that. So those are mine. Wow, I really nerded. All of us honestly did. Listen, you can't ask a bunch of nerds to tell you what their favorite is and not expect to get the longest episode you've ever listened to. So my last question was whether or not we thought it was possible to have a perfect anime, but that's because I didn't think that we'd all have one. I guess it's just me. But you know, I think we'll get there. I'm sure I'll find something that satisfies me.
I think like what you said earlier about how like you have a lot of 9s but no 10s. Yeah. Like I feel like I have a lot of 9s as well, or like I'll have like a lot of like seasons that I think are 9s. Yeah. You know, like portions of an entirety. Like I know Lance's favorite is Bleach. Yeah. And like the first up until Aizen, so like that first arc really where you get like where you know like Ichigo becomes a Shinigami and then goes to Soul Society and then they have the whole struggle against Aizen and everything and Espada and everything. Like I feel like that to me is Bleach's strongest arc. Like that to me was personally like probably 9.5. Nice. Like. And so, like, I feel like there's arcs in different animes where, like, I would consider that, like, a 9.5, but, like, not the entirety of the show, you know? Like, yeah. And I feel like part of it, too, is, like, I don't know if it's, you know, like, realistically, how much can you keep up, you know, like, a story before it just gets recycled and old? Yeah. You know, and I feel like that's where the commercialization of anime is, I feel like, killing creativity. Yeah, because like I feel like Bleach at that point, if they would have stopped right there, that would have been a 10, like to me, because that like Aizen was like popular, right? Aizen was like the dopest villain in that show by far. Yeah, like and so like you introduce all these, and I mean I know a lot of people like the 1,000-Year War arc. I thought it was good. I mean, to me personally, I feel like everything after Aizen was kind of like empty, you know, because you're like, okay, well Ichigo lost his powers, Aizen was defeated. He was sealed away, all this stuff. Like, that would have been a great place to end. Like, your protagonist won. He won, lost his powers. Should have been it. You know, like, that would have been a great place to end.
Yeah, but big franchises, you know, there's money in it. So
yeah, that's right. Exactly. And
then
there's this funny video by RDC World, whatever, where they do a little skit where the manga artist is like, "Oh, I'm all done. This is my last one." He's like, "And no, you're not." Right? And I'm like, "That's real." Like I'm like, sometimes I'm like the story would like we would enjoy and rewatch it and buy the same thing over and over and over again. Yeah. If you had let it end on where it was supposed to.
Yeah. Well, I feel like too that's like with Boruto. Like you see that right now. Like, but Boruto, you know, did you hear that
with
like
Dragon Ball Super?
Yeah, but did you hear that the author of Naruto is actually now going to be working on Boruto with
on board?
Yeah, he's actually going to be taking over. So, which it's weird to me. Like they literally took his idea, ran with it for like a season or two, and then he's like, all right, I guess I'll participate.
I feel like what happened was they were like, hey, write more, and he was like, I don't want, it ended where it's supposed to, and they were like, fine, we'll write more, and he's just been seeing it run wild, and he's like, no.
Don't do this to my creation.
Right,
exactly.
Kind of like what happened with GT.
Yeah.
GT was like a whole different thing, and then like
And
The
he was
original
like,
creator was like,
no.
we're gonna do this.
Yeah, we're not gonna do that.
Oh,
Yeah, but I feel like Dragon Ball is a great example because like you have Z was great. Like obviously, like you said, you had some villains that got kind of redundant and like you had arcs where like really was that necessary.
Yeah.
But then and pretty much anything after Z is like, all right, you're just you're recycling the same themes. Like super strong villain shows up, Goku's like, all right, let's throw hands. He loses, he gets stronger, he comes back, he beats the villain, game over. Like Vegeta's still
salty. I felt like
salty.
Z was really good
Always.
Always salty.
Up until like Gohan's thing. Like once Gohan was the one that defeated Cell.
Yeah.
That's when
and
it
I was
kind
kind of
of
like,
gears.
Right.
Like,
And then they were like, all right, we're done with Gohan now.
Yeah.
right. It's like, that's all we're going to let him do.
Yeah.
And now he's going to be a smart book nerd person. It is what it is.
And they're going to try and redeem him in Super. But
tried.
Yeah. try is the key word.
It's the operative word. Well, that being said, with perfect animes, what you got for us, Hakim? What's popular right now?
Oh man, what's popular right now? That's a good question.
That seems like it might be perfect soon.
Well, I don't know. There's a lot of animes out there that are still developing, and like some of my favorites, and some of the ones that we're watching. I'm curious to see how some of the mangas turn into animes for critically acclaimed mangas. So it's like
it's true.
When One Piece catches up, I'm curious to see what that turns into in the world of One Piece lovers. Curious to see what happens with Attack on Titan with this new season coming out shortly. My Hero, some of the bigger ones. I'm just curious to see like where will they fall when it's all said and done as far as like popularity. But
okay, I'm trying to think has anybody watched Inuyasha Part 2 yet at all?
I started it.
I haven't.
How was it?
Like it's been so long since I watched Inuyasha. Like I went in back in my app and like bookmarked Inuyasha again, so I could reread Inuyasha before I start the second one. Because like I want to go and do it fresh. Because at the beginning, I'm like, all right, I vaguely remember who these characters are, but like not enough to make it like to have like a real opinion on how I think the show is. Like the first episode is interesting.
Okay.
Like it's not bad. I mean, it wasn't like, wow, this is good. Like, but like, I feel like if you don't know the characters, like I don't know. Like, it's one of those ones where like if you start an anime with the kids of the protagonists from the last one, the main characters from the last one, you're like, okay, like, do you really need to watch the last one? I guess not to pick it up. But like you don't get the richness of the story if you don't.
Yeah, if you don't know.
Know the last one.
You don't get why this pays off.
Yeah. So I mean, the first episode was like I only watched one episode of it so far. I think I don't know how many are right now, but it's okay.
There's also one that I'm calling Bleach Part 2, which I haven't watched because I haven't watched Bleach.
So I remember when that first came out and they did that whole teaser where they like highlighted in red like the characters in Burn the Witch that spelled out Bleach, and I'm like, the hell is this nonsense? And I'm like, okay, that's because I read into it because we talked about this, you and I, and we were like, how does this relate to Bleach?
Yeah, I was like, are there dragons in Bleach?
Right, I'm like, what kind of dragons were in Bleach?
Aren't they in like Britain or something? The UK somewhere?
They're in Britain, but they're like, they work for like a division of Soul Society. So I'm like, whack. I don't know. I feel like if you do animes in the same world as a different anime, but like you have like a completely like out of left field theme, because I'm like, you go from like Shinigamis, like the Arrancar, like all these different things, like Soul Society versus like, and then you just completely shift gears. You're like, hey, we're in a different country now. We're hunting dragons. Like, what? Where did that come from?
Still, I'm thinking of like the only story I remember that did that well, and it's a book, the Giver series.
Okay.
So the first book of the Giver, starts out in like this society that is one way. The next book seems completely disjointed. Like it doesn't even feel like it's the same, but it's good. And you know that they tie together somehow, but you're not really sure. And then the third and the fourth book, like send this thread through the whole thing. And you're like, oh, but I feel like with the Bleach part too, that they're just trying to like, oh, we're going to show another aspect of this world. Like it's a Star Wars property or something.
They're trying
like
to
that.
capitalize on the commercial aspect of what made Bleach great without like going back into, oh, hey, the fact that it was canceled because like it sucked at the end. Like the world was dope, but like the story at the end was not.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I'm not a fan of that whole idea.
Yeah. I think the only thing from this season that's new that I'm watching has been Talentless Nana. And I talked about that last episode. You can listen to
Nana,
that.
right?
Yeah. Talentless Nana. So interesting. I don't think have I seen the new episode? Maybe I've watched all of them. I'm not sure, but it is interesting. It's an interesting show. I'm currently diving into the Attack on Titan hole, so I may not have any new opinions about that show for a while. But I'll get back around to it like I do.
Yeah.
But do y'all have anything else for the people?
No, I don't think so.
No. Okay. Then with that, we're signing off. Thanks for joining us on this probably longer than normal episode.
I don't know. We're at what? Hour?
Okay. Well, that's not bad. I
No.
listen to 2-hour podcasts.
It's been a good episode, though.
Yeah.
It's been flowing.
Listening to it in waves. You get all the little bits. It's great. It's great. But yeah, with that, see y'all. Stay colorful.
Yeah.
Peace.